How to how to update your Admiralty nautical publications. This is when Mark Dane Romero and NAV122 EDP code 50724 from BSMT 127. So before we start, all vessels should keep an updated list of nautical publications as per regulations set by IMO. After a new edition of published, it should be entered along with edition on board to keep a check until it is received. The nautical publications will include sailing directions, list of lights, tide tables, list of radio signals, nautical almanac, charts catalog, mariner's handbook, and other necessary for the safe navigation of the ship. Before using the Admiralty sailing directions, the mariners must always check the most recent edition of the volume, check that all the amendments in Annual Notices to Mariners Part 2 amendments to sailing directions have been applied. Check that all amendments published at Section 4 of weekly editions of Admiralty Notices to Mariners subsequent the publication of the most recent edition of Annual Notices to Mariners. Part 2 amendments to sailing directions have been applied using the most recent quarterly checklist at Section 1B of the weekly edition and the most recent edition of cumulative list of Admiralty Notices to Mariners. That it is found that the most up-to-date information is not held. The most recent editions of all Admiralty publications can be obtained from Admiralty chart agents. So the new editions or Admiralty sailing directions, it is the sailing directions are updated by a process of continuous revision with titles pre-published as new editions at approximately 3 yearly intervals. Some volumes indicated in the catalog of Admiralty charts and publications are on extended cycle of approximately 5 years. So updates may be cut and pasted directly into the book, or alternatively, it is recommended that updates are kept in a file with the latest in force on top. Admiralty list of lights and fog signals. For correction to Admiralty list of lights and fog signals and Admiralty list of radio signals, these should be pasted on top of the existing entry in the publication and the correction indexed at the front of the publication updated. Smaller corrections may also be done by pen in the publication. And then the insertion of weekly amendments should be recorded in the table at the front of each volume. The amendments which accumulate during the book printing period will be found in section 5 of the weekly edition of Admiralty Notices to Mariners, which announces the publication of new edition. A cut-out new edition note is pasted into the new edition first amendments box. New and extensively altered entries are intended to be pasted in. It is recommended that a manuscript entry is made for all shorter amendments. Admiralty tide tables. These are not normally amended between annual editions. However, important corrections notified after going to press will be found in Annual Notice to Mariners number 1 of each year. Catalog of Admiralty charts and publications. Each edition of the catalog is correct 1st October of the year before it is published, and addendum brings it up to the date of publication for changes occurring during production. Chart users should be aware that some flag states may require this publication to be maintained up to date and that some industry association audits can include this. So, users may keep the catalog up to date for new charts and new editions published for charts withdrawn without replacement, and for changes to Admiralty publications by using the information contained in Section 1 and 2. The miscellaneous updates to charts notice at the beginning of the Section 2 of the weekly edition of Admiralty Notices to Mariners. Chart limits may be inserted, deleted, or amended on the appropriate index sheet, and the chart number and title inserted or deleted on the opposite page in the appropriate place. Similar procedures should be adopted for changes to Admiralty publications. The inclusion of updates to the catalog should be recorded in the table provided in the catalog. And also in Mariner's Handbook, the Mariner's Handbook is kept up to date in a continuous revision. This means that it will be continuously revised by its editor for a period of approximately 5 years using information received in the Hydrographic Office and then republished. Publication is announced in Part 1 of the Admiralty Notices to Mariners and a listing of all current editions is updated and published quarterly in Part 1B of Admiralty Notices to Mariners and 6 months in the NP 234 cumulative list of Admiralty Notice to Mariners. Additionally, this list is continuously updated and available on the UKHO website. That's all. Thank you.